Thank you for joining me again, and welcome to another day of the 6 days of Christmas. We're going to get a bit all stuck up. Just wanted to run through some of the different glues, and yeah, there is quite a few different ways of sticking and what I'm going to do with any of them and my preference for using any of them. So I'm just going to go and run through all these things and show you just a couple of little things that I can use some of the things for. So we start off with what glue do I prefer, and I use one of two glues. So let me just move them out of the way for you. So these two glues are both dries clear glue, so we can put them on, we can see where we're putting them, but we also know that it's going to dry clear, which is really handy. We've got the super tacky glue, which is my go-to one by Craft Artist. It does come in two sizes, but this is the most economical way. And it also comes as a glue glaze. Again, now this is really one of my favourites, but unfortunately it's been out of stock for a while. So do watch out for it, because it really is an excellent one to use. It is like a sort of a lipstick really, and so it's got a fine point to put anything onto, like flowers or anything like that. So if you wanted to add a flower to a flower, we would add a tiny little bit of glue there, pop my next size flower onto it, and within a second or two it will grab it and it won't let go. And so it's a really ideal one for that type of thing. So that's the same form but in a glue glaze, so it's a slightly different format, but we don't have that one just at the moment. So these are my other two glues. Super Tacky is slightly thicker, but you can add water to it to thin it down a bit, but you're getting such a good quality there. And I also keep this one as standby as well, which is the Cosmic Shimmer one as well. Now, I usually decant those into my ultra fine glue applicators. Now these are the woodware ones, so I'm sure you will have seen me using these in the past. So you just simply unscrew your lid. Oh gosh, it's been on for quite a while, and you pop your glue, whichever one it is, you pop that into there, and you've got a little pin in the top of each of the three bottles, so that stops it from clogging up, and you've also obviously got that fine point there that gives you any definition that you need in order to use your work. So it comes in a pack of 3, and I just keep one on the go rather than loads of them, and then when that one finally gives up, I've got 2 more that I can use as well. So that's what I would use with both of these 2 glues. So I then, if I make a mess, would use my glue and residue eraser. Now this is a funny looking thing. This is like a lump of rubber. Not quite sure what it is made of apart from rubber, and it's got like a funny texture to it. So if you do, you know what it's like, you're making something and you get a little splodge of glue that seeps through from underneath, and you really don't want it there, even onto mirror card as well. It does work on there. So if you have got that mistake, you simply pick up and rub it out as if you are just ordinary making a bit of rubber, and then it will get a little bit dirty, and you can just literally chop with a pair of scissors, chop those corners off so that you've got a nice clean corner. So you chop that off, throw that in the bin, so that's the dirty bit, but you've now got a completely fresh corner. They again aren't very expensive, just £2 or £3, so they're not a major expense, but they can save so many problems by just using such a thing as that. So that's your glue and residue eraser. Now, depending on what work you're doing, you may need something like the power tape or double-sided tape. Now this one is very similar to the red extra sticky tape that you may come across. I prefer this one. It is much better, but again, a few stock problems. But the idea with this one is that you simply can adhere two things together. So if I was going to pop a line of something down, I can put that down there like that, trim it off, and so one side is already stuck, and then by peeling off this protective layer here, I would just literally pick that up, pull that off, and then we would get another piece and stick that over the top, and it is really, really strong. So you see, it actually would tear it if I tried to pull it apart. So it's a really good, strong, so ideal for making boxes or that type of thing, things that are going to be moved a lot. And it's a very good adherence to that sort of thing. So available in different widths. This one is a 9 centimetres, but you can get them also in millimetres, 9 millimetres, 6 millimetres and 3, depending on which your project is. And again, if you haven't got the power tape, the red tape is also really good to use as well. Again, that really strong bonding, which is important. Now, talking of strong bonding, if you wanted to then pop onto your piece of card here a die, so let's say that we wanted to use this one, because we are going to use it in a minute. This is one of the new deco collection from Presscuts, and you will find that there is an outer die, which will cut that piece, but there's also this inner die which has no outer cutting edge. And so if we want to actually cut that out, we will take a piece of this, which is Scotch removable tape. Now, it's not the same as low tack tape. Other companies' low tack tape, it is called removable. So it's not magic tape, because that's another one, and it's certainly not sellotape. So it's called removable, Scotch removable tape. So I keep that in a roll on my table, and I'm sure you've seen me do this before, but if I'm going to attach a die to a piece of card, I'll pop a little bit of this on with it. It's very easily tearable, I can tear that just with my fingers. But in this case, it will be to pick this die up. So I'm going to pick that up there, and then the outer die, I can then hover that over the top and try and get that sort of fairly even, and then press that down onto this outer rim so that I've picked all of it up, and I can even use these as a handle to hold that die all into place, and that is with my Scotch removable tape. Okay, now I want to show you a little card or a little suggestion that I'm going to do, and so I'm going to bring in a piece of black card to do this. So I'm first of all going to pop my die into place because I want to cut that out. So I'm going to put that through my machine, and I'm going to cut this out in black. Okay, so I'm using both my outer die and my inner die for this. So let me just run that through my machine, like so. Okay, and then that will cut us out. You can see it's all the patterns that's left. Just going to scoot those bits off. And that will have cut us both an outer and an inner, but in one. So we've got this lovely deco pattern there. Okay, so that we will use. Now I'm going to take my tape off, and we can reuse it. So if you're doing a vital piece, I wouldn't suggest that you keep on reusing and reusing, but you certainly could use it 2 or 3 times without it being a problem. So I'm just going to clear the deck of my little pieces here. And I'm also then going to just check whether that fits on there, which it does. So because I need another bit, because I'm going to show you how we use our double-sided tape, double-sided sheets, I should say. So let me bring these in. Now, this is the Crafts 2 double-sided adhesive sheets. I do use these as a preference to other makes because I prefer the way that they're made up. I'll explain that in a second. So they're also known as sticky sheets, but I do like to refer them to as double-sided adhesive sheets because we have sticky specks sheets as well, and so we can get a little confused. So let's go with this one. So they come in either an A4 piece like this or an A5. You can buy them in A5 sizes as well. And you will find that one side here is completely smooth and matte with the grid, and on the other side you've got a shiny side, and your sticky sheet is encapsulated within the middle of these two. So I want to give myself a piece that is big enough to cover the whole of this die, and so I'm finding that it's probably the best way to do it is doing it like that. So I'm just going to check with my piece of paper there. So I can put that over and I can just trim down using my grid lines as a guide as to where I want it to go, and just cut that piece off so that that piece is not wasted in any shape or form. So as I said, you've got two sides to this. So the way that we're going to apply it is we're going to stick this piece onto my black piece first. And in order to do that, it is preference to remove this side first. Now, I'm not very good at doing this because I want to get the sticky on there still. So I'm going to take that piece off and I'm going to stick that on top of my black piece. Now the piece underneath is almost irrelevant in this particular case because I'm going to cover it completely, but it's also handy to know that we've got black on that side. So that's my ordinary piece of black. I've removed the shiny piece and I'm now left with this matte piece, but that also has a grid mark on it. So I now need to cut that out, and because I'm going to stick this piece directly on, I know that this die will be the most suitable. So I'm going to take my piece of tape, which I was using with those two, and I can then stick that in place, top and bottom, just torn it in half, to run that through my machine. Now bear in mind that this is a very simple shape, it's just an ordinary rectangle, and if you have got any dies that you're going to use that are slightly different, more detailed, you might need to put a metal shim on these, because bear in mind you're going through the equivalent of two pieces of paper at the moment. You have got a piece of card, you've got a very thin piece of almost membrane-like sticky double-sided sticky sheet in between, but you've also got this piece of carrier paper. So it's like having two pieces all together. So I'm going to run that through my die cutting machine, and then that will give me a piece which is exactly the same shape as the outer piece on my deco die. I'm just running that through. Whoops. And so you can see that if I just peel this away, I can make sure I take my die out. How many dies have I nearly thrown away like that? That's rubbish. And I can pop them to one side now. And so I have my completely perfect mat that will go on the bottom there like that. So in order to stick those two together, I'm going to take my pokey tool and I'm going to pick up the corner here, which will reveal this ultra sticky side. Okay, and I'm just going to take that off. This is a carrier sheet, so I just need that to one side for the minute. Don't want to get rid of it. And I do recommend, and I've no idea in the science in this one, that if you're doing a longish shape, that the idea you would think would be, oh yeah, I can match that up like that and roll it down. And I don't know why, but so many times it seems to go wrong. So subsequently, I go for the longer edge. So I'm going to match the longer edge up down the bottom of my piece of card, and then hopefully the rest of it just falls into place. And I'm then going to take my carrier sheet with this sticky side down and just press that into position. Now this will then leave me with a very sticky piece here. You can see that I've just gone over the edge here, so I'm just going to have to remove that in a second. I'll do that with my just take that. I don't want that sticky side. Oh, shouldn't have done that with a sticky bit now, should I? Oh, silly me. Oh, do it with my scissors instead. That's better. So what I'm then going to do is fill in my, oh gosh, very sticky pieces. And I'm going to use a simple, just grab myself a bit of paper. I'm going to use some little bits of glitter. And I'm just going to put them in various different places, bearing in mind that anywhere that I put them, they're going to stick. Okay, so I'm just going to be careful. Now, just going to rub them in a little bit, but I don't want to rub them in too much because I want to make sure that I'm leaving space for it to go a different colour in as well. And so in order to do that, I'm just going to have to tip it up immediately and tap it all off. So I don't want the colours to mix. So you can see that I've got some colours there in places. Okay, so then I can replace into here my glitter. And then I will take a completely different colour, which is an ice blue. And then I can put this bit all over because it will only stick where the sticky glue, or the sticky sheet rather, has not stuck. So I can then rub that in. So it's going on all the surfaces. I can then tip that there. Give it a good old bash. And then what I'd recommend is that we also get ourselves a little brush just to get, this is such fine glitter. Okay, so we just need a little brush. Put the lid back onto there. Oh, I can get it onto there. And you can get sort of like a cosmetic brush, just a blusher brush. And I'm just going to use that over the top to brush off all of the excess, and you can hopefully then see that that sparkles and glitters, and you've got those colours mixed and matched amongst that and stuck on, and it just gives it a really pretty different effect there. Okay, and so that's using your sticky sheet, or known as a double-sided adhesive sheet. And with glitters, or you can use various different things. Okay, so one final thing to show you. Now I must just clear the decks of all this glitter. Goodness me. So because I use my silicone sheet, I'm going to quickly just spray that, and then my microfiber cloth will just pick up, excuse me for coughing, pick up all those bits and pieces, because we don't want glitter absolutely everywhere, but just with a quick spray and picking that up, I can just get rid of all those bits of glitter, which is what we want to do. So just one final thing is our sticky specks. If you recall, I said to you that there was one more thing, and this is one of my favourite go-to things as well. So this is really for adhering something that is very fussy and you might not want to use your glue spray for it. So it comes as either an A5 sheet, which this one is, or an A4 sheet. So we've got this sticky here and a carrier sheet there. And I'll just show you how that all works with this little die. Hold on a second, let's bring in the little die. Oh, crash bang wallop, hold on. My little die cut has disappeared. Hold on, we'll get another one. So here we are. Let's say that we have got a beautiful, very delicate die cut. Now, if we wanted to stick that absolutely straight down onto our piece of card, like this, we would have a bit of difficulty getting perhaps all of these extra little bits and pieces to actually stay stuck. And so, how do we do it? So what we do is we take a sheet of sticky specks. We lay onto the brown side or yellowy side our intended die cut, and we put that down like that, and we press it down, and then you can use this sheet in order to press down hard and pick up all of the little micro dots which are on this side of the sheet. This side isn't sticky, this side is. We then ease that away. So we have now that side very, very sticky, and that will then go onto our card. And I wouldn't normally stick something like this straight down, as you may know, but that will then sit completely on there with every bit of it stuck down completely flat onto our piece of work. And so if you want things like sentiments, more intricate dies, this is my go-to for something like that. You can of course use your sprays, and you can use your simmer using glue that's onto the table that I pick up. So there's many different ways, but this is one that I like to use for that, and that's sticky specks. Okay, so lots of different things to show you today. Sticky specks for intricate things like that. The sticky sheets, giving you an ability to be able to stick something through it. Also ideal if you're doing paper piecing. Removable sticky tape, so that we can stick those dies into place without fear of catching the work that we're using and tearing the paper. We've also got a remover, a glue and residue remover if we make any mistakes. We've got something for putting them on, the glue applicators. And then my preference for glues, although there are of course many on the market, is either the Craft Artist Super Tacky Glue or the Dries Clear Glue from Cosmic Shimmer, both of which that dry clear and give you a chance to work with as well. So lots for you to think about. Hopefully you might have learnt something, or at least you see what I prefer to use, and maybe something that you would like to use as well. So thanks for joining me again today, and take care everybody. Anything that you see on here, available over on the website, maximumcrafts.com. Take care, bye.